Hello, hello. All right. So, hi everyone. In this episode, we are going to discuss the some question. We're going to answer some questions in AWS, and we're also testing this microphone if this is really good. Okay, so a development team has noticed that one of the EC2 instances has been wrongly configured with the delete on termination attribute set to true for its root EBS volume. As a developer associate, can you suggest a way to disable this flag while the instance is still running? So the answer is it's should be set the delete on termination attribute to false using the command line. So using the command line, um, you can disable this flag while the instance is still running. So, okay, the explanation is correct option. When an instance terminates, the value of the delete on termination attribute for each attached EBS volume determines whether to preserve or delete the volume. By default, the delete on termination attribute is set to true for the root volume and set to false for all other volume types. Set the delete on termination attribute to false using the command line. If the instance is already running, you can set delete on termination to false using the command line. Yeah, using the command line. Okay, so that's the answer. Another question is a developer is configuring an Amazon EC2 auto scaling group. So, a developer is configuring an Amazon EC2 auto scaling group that has to launch both spot and on demand instances based on the requirement. So, also, the co-deploy agent has to be continuously installed on these EC2 instances. All the EC2 instances are running on the Amazon Linux operating system. What is the most operationally efficient way to configure this requirement? Um, okay, the answer is use launch templates to configure the EC2 auto scaling group for on demand and spot instances. When you create a launch template, use the user data field to add a configuration script that runs when the instance starts. This shell script can, in turn, install the co-deploy agent. Okay, so, man, can you hear my son crying again? This is how I'm not gonna be rich for maybe 20 years. Then after 20 years, I'm already 60 years old. Then I'm already doomed. So, yeah, damn, I have to change strategy. Okay. Um, Next is correct option. Yeah, to launch use launch templates to configure the EC2 auto scaling group for on-demand and spot instances. When you create a launch template, use the user data field to add a configuration script that runs when the instance starts. This shell script can in turn install the co-deploy agent. Uh, a launch template specifies instance configuration information that includes the ID of the Amazon machine image, the instance type, a key pair, security groups, and other parameters used to launch EC2 instances. Defining a launch template instead of a launch configuration allows you to have multiple versions of a launch template. When you create a launch template, you can use the user data field to add a configuration script that runs when the instance starts. This shell script installs the co-deploy agent for all AWS regions and supported Amazon Linux and Ubuntu distributions. You can configure co-deploy to auto-update on boot by setting the auto-update variable to true. Okay, so you use a launch template. What is the alternative to launch template? My life is doomed. My life sucks now. Okay, so what is the alternative to launch templates in AWS? Okay, in AWS, if you are looking for an alternative to launch templates for defining the configuration of EC2 instances, the primary option is launch configurations. However, there are key differences to consider. Launch configurations, older option. Launch configurations are the predecessor to launch templates. Simpler, they are simpler but lack the advanced features of launch templates. Limited flexibility. You cannot modify a launch configuration after creation, and it doesn't support multiple versions. No mixed instances support. Unlike launch templates, launch configurations don't allow you to use multiple instance types in autoscaling groups. Not recommended. AWS recommends using launch templates for new projects because they are more feature rich. CloudFormation templates, infrastructure as code. You can use AWS CloudFormation to define and provision your EC2 instance configurations, including the user data, instance types, and other properties. Full stack deployment. CloudFormation manages more than just EC2. It can define a full stack, including network, databases, and permissions. Reusable. Templates can be reused across multiple deployments. So, Elastic Beanstalk. Simplified application deployment. If your goal is to deploy applications rather than just EC2 instances, EC2 Elastic Beanstalk abstracts the instance configuration and scaling deploy management. Less control. While convenient, Elastic Beanstalk offers less granular control over EC2 configuration compared to launch templates. AWS CDK programmatic configuration. While AWS CDK can define your EC2 instance configurations in familiar programming languages like Python, TypeScript, or Java. What with? It's not while with. Advanced customization offers greater flexibility by integrating directly with your code base. Auto scaling groups without launch templates. In older setups, you could create auto scaling groups directly using cloud configurations, or even manual configurations, but these are less common now. Okay, to summarize, if you're managing auto scaling groups, launch templates are the best practice. If you need simpler configurations, launch configuration can be used, but they are deprecated and used for new setups. For broader infrastructure management, consider CloudFormation or AWS CDK. For application focused deployments, Elastic Beanstalk is a great alternative. All right, I'm hungry. Next question. Okay, so a company uses microservices based infrastructure to process the API calls from clients, perform request filtering and cache requests using the AWS API gateway. Users report receiving 501 error code, and you have been contacted to find out what is failing. Which service will you choose to help you troubleshoot? Yeah, use X-ray service. So if you have microservices based infrastructure to process API calls from clients, perform request filtering and cache requests using the AWS API gateway. Yeah, so for debugging microservices, the best is use X-ray services. So use X-ray service. AWS X-ray helps deep developers analyze and debug production distributed applications such as those built using a microservice architecture. With X-ray, you can understand how your application and its underlying services are performing to identify and troubleshoot the root cause of performance issues and errors. X-ray provides an end-to-end view of requests as they travel through your application and shows a map of your application's underlying components. You can use X-ray to analyze both applications and development and in production, from simple three-tier application to complex microservices applications consisting of thousands of services. Yeah, for debugging microservices, use X-ray. Okay, so what is the next question? The next question is okay. I think let's just stop from here. All right, so let's just this is just to test the microphone. No copyright thing is intended here. Right, so stay tuned. All right, thanks. Bye.